I'm in my 14 carats. I'm 14 karat. Doing it up like Midas.
Hey guys, welcome back. So before I get started, I figure I would mention a few things. One, I know you guys are probably wondering what's on my lips, and I just got the ColourPop. It's called like what is it called? I got it right here. It's called the Ultra Matte Lip. And I got the color, this is LAX, and I got like 8 of them, but I have like a bunch of fall shades, so I'm going to be doing a fall like ColourPop lipstick lookbook. So they will be coming up probably sometime next week, and I'm really excited to show you guys that. And then the second thing is this video is going to be a story time. But before I start this story, I did want to mention that all of the stories that I do are real life experiences. They've all happened to me. There's no exaggerations. Like, I'm telling you guys exactly what it is. So I don't want you to think like I'm lying or anything. All of these stories are like my own personal experiences. And also lastly, if you guys don't already know, I am a mom. I have 2 kids. One is Layla, she's sitting right here, and Sean, he's in the other room with his dad. But if you guys hear them, I mean, I have a family, that's what it is. So if you're gonna hear probably kids in the background, things like that, and I can't help it, and I'm sorry if you guys get bothered by it, but I mean, it's my life, it's my family, so you're gonna hear it. Okay, so anyways, this story is so crazy. I really can't believe, like, even looking back, I think this is probably one of the craziest things that has ever happened to me. Like, I don't know, it's not embarrassing because it wasn't me. It was just so weird. So I figured I would like explain to you guys exactly what happened. I mean, it's just so crazy. So let me start off by telling you guys this whole story, and then you can tell me if you've had anything else crazy happen to you like this. Okay, so back in 2010, I had actually went to visit, well, my husband, but he was my fiance then, and I had just finished doing the Miss New Jersey USA pageant, so I had like a lot of time to just hang out and chill afterwards because I did my classes right before the pageant so that I would be free afterwards. So around that time, my husband had actually lived in Fort Lauderdale, like the Miami area, and so I had went down there for a month to visit him. I spent like a month down there, and it was so much fun. The first week I came down there, he had actually taken off of work, so we had visited, like, where did we go? We went everywhere actually, like, you know, Busch Gardens, things like that. We had like a lot of fun. So we hung out together for that first week, and then afterwards, the second week, he went back to work. And since he had worked nights during this time, what I would do is I would usually spend the time at his grandmother's house, and he actually had his aunt, well, kind of like they say cousins, but she's basically the same age as him, and technically she's his step aunt because she's sisters with his stepmother. So she would be around too, and we would basically just spend that whole time just like hanging out, talking, doing a lot of girl stuff because we were like the same age. So I remember at that time, it was a Friday night, and me and her were just sitting around bored. Neither of us had drove around that time, so we were just sitting around, had nothing to do. And we had decided that we were gonna go to the corner store, which literally was probably, I'd say, like 6 to 7 houses away from us, and she was just like, let's just get some chips, you know, something to snack on while we're just hanging in the living room just talking. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know, that's fine. So we got our stuff together and we walked down to the corner store, and mind you, it is 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't probably the best idea, I'd say, but you know, we weren't really even thinking. We were just thinking of something to do. So we walked down to the corner store, and the corner store down there is a little bit different than like the corner stores I'm used to. Usually the corner stores that I'm used to, like, you can walk in and get your things and walk out, you know, but this one is like, it's kind of like a drive up and a walk up. So you either drive up or you walk to the window, and they give you your things. Like, you really can't go in and get it yourself. So the store is like really small. So like on one side they have it where you can drive up, and directly on the opposite side, like, you can literally look in the window and see the drive-in window from the opposite side, but directly on the other side of the building is basically the part where you just like walk up and say what you want and they'll get it for you. So me and Toya walked up to the window, and that's the girl's name, Toya. We walked up to the window and we ordered our things. I remember we were getting things for her grandmother because her grandmother had wanted like a soda, and like her 2 nieces were there as well, which was my husband's 2 younger sisters. So we got them some chips and things as well, but they weren't with us. They were back at the house. So we were getting like a lot of stuff. And he had went, after we had told the guy what we wanted, he went back to get our stuff. And I also remember he went to the other window on the other side to get the driver's things that they had wanted as well. So while we were waiting in line, I remember it was probably like a good maybe 3 to 5 minutes we're waiting for him to come back with our stuff. I was standing there texting, and I believe I was texting my husband at the time, and you know, just telling him what we were up to and things like that. And I could feel someone breathing down my neck, like randomly, like you feel, like I heard someone walking up, and they had stopped, and they were really close to me, and I felt like they were like practically breathing down my neck. I'm like, these people are nosy. Obviously they want to know what I'm texting, you know? So I'm just like, I'm not gonna move because I felt like it would be rude. And where I was standing in front of the window, and directly right here, and right to my left was Toya, and the person that was standing there was like right on my right hand side, but like practically like down my neck. But he was standing over here, and I was still texting. I didn't look up to see who it was, and I felt Toya nudge me, and she was just like, Kym, move to the other side. And so I was like, obviously she sees how close they are too, and maybe she sees how nosy they are. So I was like, good, at least she noticed, and I moved to the other side. So I moved to the other side, and I was like, thank God. I didn't want to like move unless, like, you know, I just felt awkward moving before she had said it. So I moved or whatever. And when I had moved, I had looked up and I saw it was like, kind of like, I don't want to say homeless, but he just seemed like he was like on drugs or something. He just looked completely off. And he was really tall. I'd say he was almost 6 feet, but he was just like giving us this weird look. Like, and I looked really fast and looked away. So, we waited for our food, we got our food, and I was thinking we were going to walk back to the house because the corner store was literally on the same block of where she lived. So I thought we were going to start heading back to the house, and I actually had started walking that way, and she was like, no, wait. Like directly across from the corner store was the Taco Bell. And she was like, let's go get something to eat at Taco Bell. So I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe she's still hungry for more than like what we got. So I was like, okay, you know, whatever, because it's literally right across the street. So we walked across the street, and we go into Taco Bell and we order our food. And while we had ordered our food, we were standing inside of Taco Bell at that time. When we ordered our food, she had turned to me and she was telling me like, did you see that, like the guy you were standing next to? And I'm like, yeah, something was off about him because he was really breathing down my neck. And she's like, I know, because I didn't want to tell you this because he was standing like right next to you. And I know this is so TMI, guys, and this is not like my language, but this is the only way I can really explain it to you. So she told me that while we were standing there and he was behind me, oh my gosh, this is so TMI. He pulled out his dick. Yes, and he was basically like jerking off behind me. Yeah, this is, oh my god, this is so TMI. So this is like so disgusting. I was just like, I was really, really disgusted. I was like, I can't believe this guy did this. I felt so violated, like, ew, it's disgusting. Like, who does that, you know? Like, it's just, oh, so disgusting. So she was just like, look, I didn't want him to see where we lived because basically it was only a few houses down from the corner store. And so she was like, I didn't want him to follow us home or anything like that. So I figured we'd go into Taco Bell instead, and that way he wouldn't follow us. So I was like, okay, that was really smart because he was super sketchy. So we're standing there waiting for our food, and I went back to texting, and I think I was telling my husband by then what she had told me. So basically at this Taco Bell, they had it where it was like a surveillance camera behind the counter where you order. So basically, like, you know how if you go to Walmart and you look up and you see the surveillance video, like when you're walking in, because you see, you know how you can see people walking in and out and things like that? So basically at this Taco Bell, they had it facing the counter of the people ordering. But I wasn't even looking at that. I was looking down at my phone, and you can always hear like the door opening and closing in Taco Bell, but I didn't look up for some reason. I was so preoccupied like with texting. And so I heard the door open, and then I heard Toya go, oh no. And so I looked at her and I'm like, what? And she goes, look up. So we looked, like I looked up at the surveillance video, and the same guy who had followed us like he followed us from the corner store to inside of Taco Bell, and he was standing directly behind me again, and we were just like, are you serious? So me and Toya moved to the side, so if he wanted to order, like, he was free to do whatever he wanted to do. So we moved to the side, and the person behind the counter was like, can I help you, you know? And I kid you not, I know you guys are gonna think I'm lying, but I promise you this happened. It was just like, everything happened so fast, it was just like, what? So, and I'm thinking maybe this guy was like on drugs or something, or like bath salts. No, it couldn't have been bath salts because he would have attacked us. But he had to be on something. So she was like, can I help you? This man pulled out his dick again, and not only he was standing right up in front of the counter, and he slapped it on the counter. And me and Toy and the cashier, we all at the same time were like, ew. And the cashier was like, you're gonna need to get up out of here with that. You know, she was yelling at him, and there was a guy behind the Taco Bell, he was yelling at him too. So like he walked out and left, and it was just like the way it had happened, like for him to have just like stuck it on the counter, like he literally just pulled it out of the counter, and me and Toya were just like, we're not even hungry anymore. Like, it was just like, ugh, it was disgusting. And so after he had left, the cashier was like, you guys should stay in here for a few minutes, because he was weird. So we had stayed in there for actually a few minutes, and when we had left, Toya was like, I'm not walking home without calling the police. So we stood outside, and I remember we had called the police, and we had told them what had happened, and she had actually given me the phone to talk to the police and tell what happened. And mind you, I'm visiting, so the police officer was asking me, like, or the operator was asking me, like, where were you at? And I'm like, the Taco Bell in Fort Lauderdale. And she's like, okay, there's a lot of Taco Bells. And I'm like, well, I don't know where it is. So I had to give the phone back to Toya, and she was explaining like which one it was at. And we had told her we had lived right down the street, and so she was like, well, give us your house number, and we're going to have a police officer meet you there. So we gave her like her house address, like my husband's grandmother's house address, and we walked back over there. Thankfully we didn't see him, and we walked fast because we were just like, this guy is crazy. So we walked back really fast, and yes, we did have the food from Taco Bell with us, but I promise you we did not eat any of it afterwards. I think we just threw it out, because mind you, we had already paid for it, so we weren't like, I don't know, we took it, we were like in shock. But anyways, we walked back to the house, and we waited, and it was probably at least a good 10 minutes we waited for the cops. So when they finally came up, they had the lights on or whatever, and we walked out, and it was 2 female officers, and they had asked us to explain what had happened. And Toya really explained a lot of it because she saw more of it than what I did. Like, she saw it at the corner store, and she saw it inside Taco Bell. I saw it for like a split second inside Taco Bell, so I feel bad for her mind because she really got all of it. So basically we told the police officers everything, and Toya was even saying how there was like some type of like really bad house a couple blocks away, and she was like, he might have came from over there because it was just like really crazy over where that house was. And so when we had told the police officers, they were upset. Like, it was 2 female officers, so they were upset that this had happened, and they had told us, I think, I'm not even positive, they might have filed like a police report or something, because I think they had assigned something. But she had said she was going to go look for him, and she was like, you know, I'm going to let you know what happens. But we never heard back from them. But she seemed really upset, at least, over what had happened. She was like, this is like ridiculous. It should never happen. You guys should never have to feel like this. You know, what he did was basically illegal. But yeah, that's basically what had happened. And honestly, after that had happened, it took me a while to want to eat Taco Bell again. Like, at least a good year, because all I could think about was just like that whole story. It was a lot. So yeah, that's the only time that I've ever gotten, like, I guess you could say, flash, and I only saw it at Taco Bell, so that's the reason why I put like flash at Taco Bell. But yeah, yeah, that was just, it was ridiculous. And so I guess the moral of this story is, don't do drugs because it will freak you up. Yeah, that's my crazy story for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I definitely am going to have some more up. I actually was thinking about doing one of some of the worst punishments I've ever had, because I have had some crazy punishments growing up because my parents are kind of strict. But yeah, so I'm probably going to do that video next. But definitely give this a thumbs up if you guys like my story times, and if you want to hear more crazy stories like this, definitely let me know. Thanks guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.